Today, I want to go over an NFL offense that I believe is being way too hated on. A lot of people are saying this is a bottom three team in the league overall and are saying they don't have a great offense. Edholm and Mile Florio are both calling them bottom five, and I just don't see it. The team we'll talk about today is the Tennessee Titans, and I think the main reason people are hating on this team is just because of how good the AFC South is in general. The AFC South has a chance to be like the North from last year, in my opinion, but let's focus on why I think the Titans will shock people. I think a lot of people are sleeping on their wide receiver room. A lot of people seem to be talking about how washed up it is and how they don't quite threaten people as much as other wide receiver rooms do. But I think that D-Hop will have another kind of under the radar season, but still a good year. And I think the Ridley contract was a little bit too high. But people seem to talk about it like this season they decided to pay Ridley this money and miss out on A.J. Brown. But really, they made that move a couple years ago, and there's no need to bring up paying Ridley this contract to try to knock them down for that. I think that Boyd will make a solid wide receiver 3 or 4, and I think Burks can hopefully finally figure it out and will take the third receiver spot from Boyd. I think some people are also sleeping on their tight end, Okonkwo. He had a very solid season for tight ends last year, his second year in the league as a 2022 fourth-round pick. He had 528 yards, which are some very solid numbers for a tight end. It was only 18th in yards for tight ends, but I think he could definitely improve on those numbers this year. And I think that overall they have a pretty spread out wide receiver room, and I think that'll help them a bit. Now, Levis is a bit of a weird player when people talk about him. A lot of people talk about him like he's a bridge QB for the Titans, and I understand the coach that drafted him isn't there now, but I think Levis will still be a big piece for the Titans in the future. And I've seen some people make a Jordan Love comparison, but I think that we know a little bit more about Levis going into this season than we did Love into last season. Levis started off pretty hot last year, then he kind of mellowed out a bit. I think he does have a very high potential though, and I think his play style will help him be productive in the Titans offense this year. I think he's got good enough receivers to succeed, a solid running back room, in which we'll talk about next, and a nice O-line room, and again, we'll move on to them soon, to truly help him succeed. The Titans running back room is pretty solid, and it's not elite, but it's not bottom 10 in the league. I think Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears won't be a two-headed monster like Chubb and Hunt were for 2 or so years. But I do see them splitting a lot of reps, and I think they can both bruise other teams on the ground. I think the Titans could also try to feature Hassan Haskins, and I kind of hope they do. I thought he had a bit of potential coming out the draft, and for the playtime he got, he was very solid as a rookie, but missed last year injured. And now I have a feeling he could be a guy they cut, but I would like to see him stay on the roster and get some reps. And considering there's not really anyone behind him, I think he'll stay active, and I think it's a pretty safe bet to make. Last off, I really think the Titans have a solid offensive line, and possibly an improved one from last year. I think that Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be a very solid addition for them overall. I also believe that Latham will be a very solid O-lineman, and has already looked good in rookie camps. I think the Titans could maybe improve the right side of their line, but I truly think that the left side will be able to do a great job protecting Levis. With Skoronski playing left guard and Latham at tackle, I think Cushenberry might have to help the right a bit more. I think the right tackle, Dylan Radunes, might be solid, but I think they should try to improve the right side anyway, except there's not many good O-line free agents remaining. Their right guard right now isn't the best in the world, and he is 30, but we'll just have to see how that turns out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment your thoughts on the Titans this year and some teams that you think might be sneaky good.